Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar session using Agile Project Management in a virtual environment. My name is Tori Reed, Marketing Manager for O3 Solutions. For those of you who may be new to us, this is a monthly webinar series hosted by O3 Solutions, an Agile Project Management SaaS software solution that is built on an advanced work packaging framework. We'll have a brief question and answer session after the presentation via the chat on our website, www.o3.solutions. Every registered attendee will receive a copy of today's presentation slides and a link to the recording via email within 2 business days. We will also post today's webinar recording on our website, along with previously recorded events that you might want to check out in our education library. First, I'll introduce Mandy, and she'll go over our safety moment, and then she'll highlight tools used within Agile Project Management, including Constraint Management, workflows and approvals, task management, organizing work, and goal tracking. And as mentioned, following the presentation, we will have a Q&A on our website at www.o3.solutions. Now I'd like to take a moment to introduce our speaker. Mandy Coker is VP of Education and Engagement at O3. Mandy is the co-chair for CII AWP Education and Outreach and has served for 5 years as an AWP conference strategist. She has also served over 15 years experience supporting change management and adopting new technologies, including introducing AWP and Agile methods to her clients. Thanks for joining us today, Mandy, and sharing some of the items that our clients are using to work remotely. At this time, I'll turn the presentation over to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Tori, and I appreciate you hosting for today. So first we'll get started with a brief safety moment. I know, especially with times as they are right now, it finds a lot of us seeking solace in our yards and trying to find ways to get outdoors. This is a safety moment we've used for in the month of April or May, but it's really some good tips to keep in mind now as more and more people are doing work in their yard to keep themselves entertained. These are some safety reminders for your eyes specifically. So it's always good to keep in mind that wearing safety glasses when using cutting tools is really paramount. There's a lot of injuries that can occur each year, and as you can see in the stats over to the left, 40% of home eye injuries occur while working in the lawn and garden. So this is a significant issue. Some other reminders: wear UV eye protection if you're going to be outside for a long time. Be especially careful around spray chemicals. Make sure to keep those out at an arm's length and always away from your face. We are all washing our hands a little bit more frequently, but especially do so after you've been using chemicals. Be careful when you are handling power tools and use those with caution. Never remove guards that are on your equipment. And this was an interesting thing to keep in mind, but hydration is very important to keeping eye irritation to a minimum. So be sure to drink water frequently if you're out in the yard. That's just good to do anyway, but especially as you're out working and the heat might be rising. And there's a link to the source for all of this information found at the bottom. Also, O3 has all of our safety moments loaded on our website. So if you would like to use this, please go to our website and feel free to download it and share. So for today's presentation, where we're talking about how our clients are using O3 in a virtual environment, O3 is an agile project management solution. So before we begin, I thought it would be a good place to start by explaining what agile project management is. The agile methodology originated in the software industry and was introduced in the 90s as a way to manage projects more effectively. The most basic definition is that it breaks a large project into smaller increments of work to minimize the amount of time needed to deliver the end result. So in short, it addresses productivity, communication, and efficiency issues that were prevalent in more traditional project management. The core components of Agile are release planning, sprint execution, and visibility and continuous improvement. So when we look at Agile project management in construction, the introduction of advanced work packaging has really taken advantage of all of those Agile methods. Instead of software releases, construction projects plan work packages. Construction work packages, for example, are a division of work by a defined work area and are created by discipline and correspond to level 3 project schedule activities. From those larger construction work packages, smaller packages are created. The work packages most commonly used in construction is in the installation process, but it's important to keep in mind that work packages can be found at all stages of the project, including in the contract and bidding process, engineering, procurement, scaffolding, testing, turnover, and more. Those work packages have a defined amount of work set in 1 or 2-week increments and includes the estimated hours and resources needed, such as contractors, equipment, materials, and safety requirements. Each package also has identified and clearly identified any constraints and cleared those prior to the release of each package, so you know that that work is ready to go. And with all of that information, estimated versus actual hours, assigned crews, status, and progress of each package, supervisors now have unprecedented information available in real time that can support better decision making, and they can make adjustments to improve their team's performance. There are many benefits of an agile process like advanced work packaging. These are just a few that I want to highlight. So, efficiency. Agile fosters a culture of collaboration and clearly defined roles and responsibilities. Each team has a plan, the equipment and materials they need, and they regularly communicate to make adjustments as needed. Predictability. In an agile environment, each person understands what work they're expected to do and when. With visibility into the planned week of activities and constraint-free packages available, each team can focus on the work at hand and deliver consistent results. Cost savings. Because each package has a fixed duration, the cost is predictable and limited to the amount of work that can be performed by the team in that given time period. And by reporting estimated versus actual hours, the team can better understand what works and what doesn't and adjust accordingly for similar packages to help reduce wasteful spending. Quality. AWP has been proven to reduce rework because each package is planned well in advance and has taken into account the correct safety requirements needed for that package, and materials and equipment have been identified and are ready. Also, each package clearly lays out what work is planned for the week and is coordinated with other teams that may be working in that area, which allows supervisors to be in the field more often when they're needed. And finally, another benefit of agile project management is adaptability, and that's really what we're going to talk about today. Agile methods are built upon a strong foundation of planning. For example, using AWP methods, planners create a work front buffer or a bank of work that's been released, so teams can adjust as needed if a change arises. If the drawing isn't ready, a piece of equipment breaks, or a resource becomes unavailable at the last minute, the team can quickly adjust their plan and work on other work packages that are ready to go. And that's what I really want to spend our time on today. Many of us are continuing to do our jobs, but we may be working in new circumstances with ever-changing priorities, resources that may or may not be available, and budget restrictions. And what I want to share is how our clients are using O3 to adapt to their current needs. As Tori mentioned, O3 is a SaaS-based solution that is accessible anywhere with an internet connection. In addition, our company has always supported a remote or virtual working environment since our inception. So we are pretty accustomed to using technology to support virtual collaboration. Today, we're going to cover how O3 has been helping our clients prioritize work, manage constraints, set up approvals and processes that can be executed virtually, establishing short-term goals and tracking the performance against them, managing their daily tasks, and creating team boards to better organize work. And just as a note, I'm going to show several example dashboards to illustrate the topic at hand. However, these same principles, prioritization, constraint management, approvals and workflows, etc., can be applied to any work package type, including construction, engineering, testing, scaffolding, and more. So we'll get started with work prioritization. It's always important to prioritize your work and understand what we need to focus on today or this week. In a remote environment, having everyone on the same page regarding priorities is difficult if everyone is working in their own silo. Using O3's dashboards with color-coded indicators, it will allow you to prioritize your work and manage by exception. So rather than coming through tens of pages of printed reports to see hundreds of line items, that these dashboards use charts and graphs that are easy to skim and understand a lot of information quickly. You can quickly review green items and go over those. That's the healthy items. And instead, spend your time diving into any yellow or red items that may need your attention right away. The backlog chart shows which work packages have been approved, issued, or in execution, and which are complete. The Skyline report shows you previous performance, where you are today, and the status of planned work weeks or months into the future. You may need to intervene and understand why there are packages marked in red that are due this week, for example. And the Workfront Buffer Graph provides a look at work that is ready if you need to make quick adjustments on the fly. Many of our clients are using our dashboards and other layouts to support their virtual meetings to discuss plans for the day or the week. With dashboards, you can view items for a specific team, role, or meeting objective, like constraint review meetings, which we will discuss in just a moment. You can use our default dashboards that are available out of the box, or you can create and share your own dashboards with your team or supervisor. Each dashboard widget supports drill down capabilities so you can get more details, not exactly something that you can do with a PDF report. Dashboards can also be edited in real time so you can collaborate online during the meeting. And you can also assign action items or make comments on existing action items while the meeting is taking place. And all of this activity is captured in history logs, so at any time you can see who updated which item and when. Okay, so we talked a little bit about using dashboards to support meetings. One of those meetings is generally centered around managing constraints. A constraint is anything that could potentially be holding up work, like waiting on our approval or not having the appropriate materials or information available to release a work package. As you can imagine, our industry is experiencing some significant disruption and changes to original plans, like resource shortages or delayed equipment and material deliveries. O3 has robust constraint management functionality to track and manage constraints throughout the entire project. Using the open constraints grid, you can see constraints that are in danger of impacting work, and they are highlighted in yellow or red, depending on the planned release date. This setting can be configured based on your project's needs. Also, within each constraint, our clients can add comments to allow team members coordinate effectively, even when they're at home. So some other changes we've noticed are managing constraints that might change the duration of a work package, like, for example, with resource shortages. And you may need to understand when a package itself may become a constraint on other packages because of the sequence of work that must be completed. Speaking of the sequence of work packages also follow a very precise workflow. And that workflow may include a need for approvals, which could be challenging while working remotely. O3 supports as simple or as complex of a workflow and approval process as needed by the client. We've seen work packages with as few as 3 steps all the way up to as many as 26 steps, depending on how complex the work may be or the maturity of a contractor. We can support processes around RFI tracking, work package release, constraint removal, deliverable sign-off, and more. O3 can be configured to provide a virtual approval process, again with that historical backlog, to see when an item has been approved, what stage it's in, and if it needs to be escalated, depending on its due date and priority. In the approvals checklist, I can view items that are assigned to me with the priority, due date, status, and the associated work package. This helps me understand what work I need to complete first, so I'm not stuck holding other people up. Approvals can also be assigned to a specific company, person, role, or user group, depending on how you normally communicate on that specific type of item. If, for example, you have resources that share a role, like a workspace planner, and they work 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off, you would want to assign that approval to a role or user group so that approval doesn't go unnoticed while the resource is off rotation. Now, regardless of whether your company is deep into advanced work packaging or just getting started, O3 can provide value outside of work packaging as well. Many of our clients have really leveraged our task management capabilities in this new virtual world. Instead of notepads full of checklists and sticky notes left on coworkers' desks, or those dreaded hundreds of emails swirling around where you can't keep up with who updated what task last, our clients are using O3 to manage their daily tasks online. With online task management, you can stay focused on the right work right now. You can view all tasks created by you, assigned by you, and assigned to you. You can manage all of your items by due date and priority and can assign subtasks to others that may be holding up your work. You can also sort and filter the list by task type, due date, priority, and associated work package if you're using tasks to support work packaging. And O3 is fully searchable. So if you know any of the words in the task name, the work package number, the person who it's assigned to, etc., you can find the task in the list, which is a whole lot better than searching through notebooks and file folders for those elusive sticky notes. And for those of our clients who want to go even further with their tasks, they're using our team boards feature to organize their work. Team boards can be used to support virtual meetings, ongoing initiatives, document deliverables and tasks, and so much more. They can be used to organize action items for teams or individuals and can provide views of work on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. And the best part is that team boards can be used to support any project or initiative. Our team boards have 5 different views that you can choose from. The list view is a simple list of tasks that can be sorted by type, priority, due date, and assigned owner. The card view can be used for a Kanban approach for managing tasks. You can drag and drop each card through stages like open, in progress, on hold, and complete. The grid view is similar to the list view, but can show a lot more data fields and can be used to bulk edit items in real time. The calendar view can help you understand bandwidth for your team and resource availability and can visually show what's on the calendar for the day of the week. And finally, the Gantt view can help you visualize how one piece of work may impact other work as you're planning and making decisions on which tasks should be completed first. Here are a few examples of how our clients have used the team boards feature. You can use the list or grid view to keep track of decisions that need to be made. These can be any decision. Most recently, we've seen clients create a decision log around how to address COVID-19 questions like, which teams are considered essential versus non-essential? How often should we communicate with our employees? What changes will we make to support social distancing requirements? And what kind of testing might we conduct? And so on. When you track major decisions and take notes on why that decision was made, who was involved in making the decision, any research that was completed prior to making the decision, and how that decision will be communicated, you can save valuable time not revisiting certain issues at every meeting. And of course, if you must reverse course on a particular decision, you can track that as well. This is an example of how the card view can be used to track updates to policies and procedure documentation. In this example, you can see how an organization is tracking updates to existing documents to reflect any new changes that need to be made to support any new advanced work packaging methods and processes. A card view could also be used to manage tasks, for example, on how to reopen the office once stay-at-home orders have been lifted. This board includes status columns for open, in progress, on hold, and complete. But you could also add columns such as review and revision or waiting on approval. This is another example of a team board being used to track ideas. Rather than losing valuable suggestions or ideas for continuous improvement, you could create a team board that's accessible by anyone that has permissions to contribute those ideas. Some potential topics could include safety moments, ways to reduce waste, process improvements, or ways to improve data quality. You can also track subtasks against each idea, like research tasks or submitting the idea for review and acceptance. And then at a higher level, we are seeing our clients use team goal features in O3 to set goals and track performance against their objectives. The team goals functionality was originally created to track advanced work packaging goals, like creating work packages well enough in advance and measuring a healthy constraint management process. But we've seen some pretty cool uses of team goal features to track goals around co-planning and communication, such as understanding resource availability by contacting all of their vendors or contractors, maintaining the goal of zero safety incidents and lessening the exposure to the virus, planning for temporary demobilization, creating a plan for long-term sustainability with data archives and a ramp-up plan for when workers return to the project, and goals around communications for employees, contractors, and even the community. We've been very impressed with the way our clients have adapted to the new normal, and they have really inspired us with ideas and ways to use report work in this new virtual environment we find ourselves in. I hope that this session has given you some inspiration and shown that there are many ways we can collaborate and deliver work without the need for as many in-person meetings, sticky notes, and dreaded emails. I wanted to leave you with this thought today. Many of our clients in industrial construction have been talking about their digital transformation for a while now. They are constantly looking for ways to work more efficiently, leverage data to improve current processes, and increase collaboration with more access to information and visibility into the current status of a project or initiative. I believe COVID-19 has both highlighted where we may be falling behind on those initiatives and demonstrated the value of having information accessible and at our fingertips, regardless of where we happen to be located. This may turn out to be the kick in the pants we needed as an industry to step our efforts. So thanks, Tori. With that, I will turn it back over to you. We will answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mandy, for your presentation. At this time, we will moderate any questions you may have via www.o3.solutions on our chat feature. We'll address as many as we have time for. But some common questions we'd like to just go ahead and answer. The first one, Mandy, if you can help us with this. Can other people view my tasks, and can I view other people's tasks?
So with O3, we have a very robust roles and permissions set up on the back end that can be handled by the system administrator. For the most part, your tasks are viewed by you, and anything you can see anything that you assign to other people. So those things I mentioned earlier, created by me, assigned to me. I have views of that, but you can select who you want to have access to your tasks. We also have a feature called the Watcher feature. So you could be marked as a contributor or someone who wants to keep track of a certain task. But again, that can be maintained in our Roles and Permissions tab.
Okay, thank you, Mandy. And then another question we've got is, what have your clients been most surprised about when working remotely in regards to 3?
Well, I think it's really a lot of our clients were really nervous when they moved into a virtual environment. And they're seeing that as long as you have a tool that's accessible via the internet, your work doesn't have to change that much. Instead of having sticky notes or emails, you can still manage your work in a digital format that feels very similar to the notes that you're passing back and forth. The best part about it, though, is that you then have a history of that conversation. So you can review back to a specific task or an item and look at the comments and remind yourself of how you closed or resolved that issue. And that's really great for continuous improvement. So once you figured out how to address a particular RFI, for example, you could use that information to complete future RFI requests, and that information and data hasn't been lost forever. So it's been really cool to see that while some people had a little bit of trepidation about moving digitally, I'm not sure they're going to be able to go back to doing things the way they used to.
Okay, great. And then finally, how do you use O3 to manage your work?
Yeah, so I am not a workplace planner. I work in the office normally with O3. Some of the ways that I've been able to use O3 while working from home, I am a co-chair of the Advanced Work Packaging Subcommittee for CII. So we often get together and have workshops and meetings and create new research or deliverables that are available for CII members and that we share. I've been able to use O3 to keep that communication up. We're still hosting our meetings virtually, but we're tracking all of our action items and our tasks and our deliverables through O3, and we've set up an approval workflow. So as you can imagine, with a research team, you have to go through several rounds of revisions and approvals for final publication. And I've been using O3 to send out automated reminders that a task is due and reporting back to the team on our progress for those deliverables. So it's been really neat to see people that, regardless of their involvement with AWP, can really see the ease of use and helpful nature of O3 with all of the task management. It's been super helpful.
Okay, great. Well, thanks again, Mandy, and thank you to everyone who was able to join today's webinar. You will receive a recording and the final presentation slides soon. We invite you to join us for our next monthly webinar, Using Technology to Manage Your AWP Education and Training Program with O3, on Wednesday, May 26th at 11 a.m. Central Time. And we appreciate your time and hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day.